Jey Uso fans, I got some disappointing news for y'all. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. And to be honest, straight up, as a fellow Jey Uso fan, I'm disappointed as well. And I just want you to brace yourself for this one. Because Jey Uso, he has finally done it, y'all. He's won the Intercontinental title. He is still in a feud with Braun Breaker, though. And that's not a bad thing. Because, look, Braun Breaker, he won the title from Sami Zayn. Now, Jey Uso, he won the title for Braun Breaker. You pass and you go. You pass and you go. And now we're going to see that feud continue, right? As WWE approaches Crown Jewel November 2nd. Sweet! Saudi Arabia. Then we head into Survivor Series. A lot of moving parts involving Jey Uso, right? We know Braun, he teased, hey, everything's fine. I endorse you. Yay, babyface Braun. Now he goes and he turns on Jey Uso, and he's back to being this vicious heel. I like it. I think Braun is a really good heel. He could be a good babyface as well, as we've seen in NXT. With Jey Uso, though, there's questions. So, when do you do the rematch with Braun Breaker? More on that in a minute. Then, do you go back to the bloodline? Do you go back to your roots? Do you have Jey Uso align with his brother Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns to take on the new bloodline of Jiga Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and the Tongas? At Survivor Series, Men's War Games, it kind of sets itself up, right? Why wouldn't Jey Uso go back? Could he link back up with Sammy? And then they go to the aid of Jimmy and Roman. I like that. I like that possibility, right? A lot of questions. Where do you go with Saturday night's main event? Do you book Jey versus Braun at Crown Jewel? Do a War Games match and then see what else happens at Saturday night's main event, which reportedly in December, I think December 14th, that's supposed to be a PLE. What do you do? Well, I have an answer for you, and you're not going to like it. So, Uncle Dave Meltzer, he reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter the top matches planned for Crown Jewel, two of which we already know. Gunther, World Heavyweight Champion, taking on undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes and the Crown Jewel Championship match. Obviously, Women's World Champion Liv Morgan versus Women's Champion Nia Jax for the Crown Jewel Championship. Then there's talk. Is it going to be Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed on Crown Jewel? Will Jey Uso defend the IC title against Braun Breaker at Crown Jewel? Well, I don't know about Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed, but I can tell you, according to Uncle Dave Meltzer, that Jey Uso will not be wrestling Braun Breaker at Crown Jewel. He's not. That's not to say he won't be on the card, but if it's not that match, I highly doubt it. However, here's another update. WrestlePurist, they report that Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker is actually planned for a few weeks in the main event of Monday Night Raw. So we're going back to this whole, let's put a big championship match in the main event of now 2-hour Monday Night Raws to pop a rating. Ugh. I don't know if I love that. Because as good as Gunther versus Cody Rhodes is going to be, let's be real, y'all. No one really cares about the Crown Jewel Championship. Okay? WrestleVotes, they've already reported, hey, this title, it's only going to be utilized in Saudi Arabia. It's only going to be brought up during Crown Jewel events. It's literally the Crown Jewel Championship. It's going to be a really good match, but there's really no big stakes to it, right? Whoever wins doesn't really matter. But if you have a Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker match, a rematch, IC title, now that's something I can get interested in, right? I'm curious about that. I want to see that match. Do they keep the championship on Jey Uso? Do they put the championship back on Braun Breaker? Is there some kind of weird finish? Is there a DQ, a no contest, a squash, Jimmy Uso coming out, saving his brother, the bloodline getting involved? You see my point? There's multiple angles. There's multiple ways you can go about this. So what happens? What happens if you don't put this on Crown Jewel according to reports? Well, it goes on Monday Night Raw. And just like we saw with Gunther defending the world title against Sami Zayn, well, the prestige of that kind of goes away, I think. There's a huge difference between a major title match or a major match just in general being booked on a PLE compared to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or TV in that sense, right? Why is that? Well, it's not the same because you have 52 weeks of television. You have time constraints, right? They're not going to be able to go out there and necessarily have a 30-minute match. Although, hypothetically, I guess you could, but we're not dealing with 3-hour Raws. It's also Monday Night Raw in October, November, whenever this is booked. It's going up against NFL competition. You have commercial breaks, right? If we're talking about Raw on Netflix, it's a little bit different, which I think them being on Netflix is actually going to help their retention when it comes to viewership, because people are not going to necessarily want to exit out of the streaming app and then log back in 2 minutes later. They'll just play on their phone. Regardless, I don't love Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker 2, the rematch for the IC title. Justifiably, because Braun, well, he needs a rematch. I get that. I'm good with that. But at the end of the day, you're not getting that on a PLE. PLEs are special, okay? This is one of the highlights that Triple H has done. He's made PLEs special. He's made PLE spots special. How has he done that? Well, he only keeps it to 5 to 6 matches per card, depending on the event, obviously more for WrestleMania and etc. And when you're on those cards, you know it's a big deal. Like, there are notable names being left off PLEs because their matches, their feuds are not as significant right that second. Champions are left off the show, right? Now, obviously, you're going to have your Drew McIntyres, your Cody Rhodes, your Gunthers, etc. on the show. Rightfully so. They're your top stars. But I think if you look at it like this, Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker should be on the Crown Jewel card, because it is more important than just a Monday Night Raw event. Okay? It just is. I don't know about you. What are your watching patterns? I watch the first 30 minutes of Raw, and then I dip out, and I'll just follow along on social. That's how I do it. If there's something newsworthy, I'll write it up. Other than that, I ain't watching. That's just me. I got other things to do. If you're just a casual, I get it. You're going to watch the whole thing. But, I don't know. PLEs to me are so special that if I want to watch in-ring action, I'm going to wait till the PLEs. I'm going to get the very best possible. So I don't have to worry about weird finishes. I don't have to worry about commercial breaks. I don't have to worry about time constraints. I ain't going to worry about any of that. I just got to worry about the match. Is it good or is it bad? And what was the finish? Other than that, I ain't got nothing else to worry about. That's the way I like to watch wrestling in 2024. This is coming from almost a 30-year-old guy who's been watching wrestling for decades. Right? That's just me. So I'd like to hear about your wrestling viewing habits down below. And I will see y'all in the next video.